Hey guys, welcome to another Marvel Contest of Champions video. Okay, today I'm hoping by the end of this you guys will have a better understanding of which tech champs you can rank up that don't need to be awakened, that don't have that big of a use, or that are still really amazing champs without that awakened ability. So we've already done in this series Skill, Mutant, Cosmic, and Mystic. So we've only got Tech and Science left to do. So today, like I said, we're going to cover Tech. So this is only my opinion. This isn't really any sort of ranking. This is just the top champions that I think in this class that really don't need the Awakened ability. I'll do a quick overview of what their Awakened ability is. But again, it'll only be a really quick kind of synopsis of what it is. So if you want to look into that in greater detail, I would say maybe go check out the Aunt May website, which is fantastic. And I've also done, I think that was my very first video was Aunt May. So I'm not shouting from the rooftops how great it is, but if you want to check out Aunt May, maybe check out that video that I did, the very first one. So like I said, this isn't going to be in any sort of order. I'll probably put, in my opinion, the worst 5, 6 through 10, and in the best 5, in my opinion, 1 through 5. But again, they're not really in any order. So the first one that I will put on here is going to be Ultron. I was really struggling, guys, to find this 10th spot because a lot of the tech champs, once you go, I would say, through number 9, it seems to just kind of drop off a cliff. Vulture, I suppose, doesn't need to be awakened. Maybe Yondu, if you want to put them in this 10th spot. Those really don't need the awakened. I was really struggling. Like I said, Ultron really does need the awakened ability because that's where his regen off of energy attacks come from, and his ability to shut down, incinerate, and shock debuffs 80% faster is on that awakened ability. But if you don't have him awakened, at least you've got a champ that's, bleed poison immune because he's a robot. He still is a really good champion without that awakened ability, but with it, he is much, much better. So anyway, that's why I would say he's probably one of these last spots, strictly because he more or less kind of does need that or does greatly benefit from it. Next, I'm going to put War Machine, one of the quite a recent buffed champion. It's kind of been a bit, I don't think anyone's gone too crazy for War Machine. I think most people think it's kind of meh, his buff. But he is considerably better than what he was. He doesn't really need his awakened ability. It's one of the typical robot one, where when he goes below 15% health, he gets Furies and Regens, and I think that's based on his Sig level. But other than that, he's a decent champion. Again, not as good as a lot of the others on this list, but much better than the ones that aren't. So, carrying on, number 8. I'm going to stick Mysterio. So the old fishbowl head. I quite like Mysterio. He's always been a decent champion. Poisons, there's not a lot of champions that put poisons on folks. So that ability, at least a few years ago, was fantastic with Mysterio. But now there are a lot more champions that do put poison on the opponent. So I think he's kind of maybe dropped down that pecking order a little bit. But all his awakened ability does is generates one chemical gas every so many seconds. And that's based on your Sig level. But in my opinion, you don't really need that because just by doing, I think you can only have 3 at max. And you can get those by just doing, like say medium will give you a gas charge. So you can get those really quickly anyway. But you can get them quicker if you have them awakened. So that's really about it with Mysterio. So all the rest of his kit he has without being awakened as well. Next, I'm going to put Punisher 2099. I think it's this guy, in my opinion, is either love him or you're not fussed, because I'm not fussed on him. I don't like how you use him, but there's a lot of people out there that really, really enjoy using Punisher 2099. But again, another one doesn't really need his awakened ability. He just drains opponents' power. If they hit a special 3, so if they fill all 3 bars of power, it knocks them down a certain bit of power and power locks them for a certain period of time, again based on his sig level. So guess what? With that portion of it anyway, if you don't let them get to their special 3, then it doesn't really matter. So it's kind of a bit of a waste, really, that one, in my opinion. Hulkbuster, we'll stick number 6. Again, this isn't any sort of order. I don't want people saying, Howard the Duck is worse or Nebula or whatever. So, but anyway, Hulkbuster, when he came out with his buff anyway, everyone was going crazy for him. Hulkbuster is fantastic, yada, yada, yada. But I think, in my opinion, again, in recent months, there's been, some other decent champs that have come out and maybe knocked him down that pecking order a little bit. Some of you guys may, in an actual tier list, would definitely put a lot of other champs above Hulkbuster, especially if you were counting, Awakened champions as well. But again, he is very similar to War Machine, where it's just the 15%. So the self repair below 15%, he gets. It's massive if you got him at a high sig, which would be really helpful. But I mean, it's up to you guys whether you think he needs it that much or not. But personally, I don't think. I think you can get away with not having him awakened. So number 5, we're going to go with Nebula. Nebula's turned into an amazing champion now that she has been buffed. It just seems like she does everything pretty much she did before, but quite a bit better. So, but the only thing she gets with her awakened ability is if she's got active shocks on the opponent, then her attacks, while she has active shocks on the opponent, her attacks increase her combat power rate. So she gets power quicker up to a certain percentage based on her sig level, which is helpful but not needed for her to be, an amazing champ that she is now. So moving on to number 4, Howard the Duck. Now, Howard the Duck has greatly gone up in my my tiers or whatever. What I want to start ranking up myself and who I like to use now. One thing you do have to do when you're using Howard the Duck, you've got to have your sound off. At least I do, because I cannot stand it when he's getting hit or anything like that. But his little animations and sounds drive me a bit nuts. But, excuse me, he is a fantastic champ. His utility is really great now. But the only thing he gets his critical resistance goes up, slightly higher ability, accuracy, and incoming debuffs don't last quite as long. But none of those 3 things, are really massive in my opinion. So he doesn't really desperately need the awakening. So we're going to go ahead and stick Ghost here next. Again, it's up to you guys how you actually want to rate them, but this isn't a rating. This is just saying which ones don't need it. Ghost needs her awakened ability, guys. I will say that up front. She does greatly benefit from her awakened ability. But even without her awakened ability, she is still a fantastic champ. I don't use Ghost that often because I'm not the best Ghost player. But I know from using her and from seeing others use her that she does greatly benefit from that awakened ability. But even without it, she is still really, really good. Much better than a lot of other tech champions. So if you have, managed to pull Ghost as a 6-star and you're struggling to find someone to, say, rank 3 to become Thronebreaker, you get a tech catalyst and you think, you've got Ghost and Yondu, then definitely going to, use it on Ghost. She is still really good without it. The only thing she does, what she does is she starts the fight phased for a couple seconds, and when opponents miss, she gains up to 5% power based on that sig ability. So, like I said, that's a very helpful thing. So, number 2, we're going to put Guillotine 2099. Now, I'm not a massive fan of Guillotine 2099. I've taken mine 5-star 565, and she's been there for ages. I still use her periodically, especially on like the Cav EQs and things like that with Tex. I was using her quite a bit. I'm just not fussed with having to ramp her up on a fight, but that's just me. But I can see that she is a really good champion. She doesn't really need the buff. The only thing sorry, not the buff. She doesn't really need the awakening. She gains a combo shield when she's awakened. When she would be hit, she gains that combo shield, and that reduces damage up to or down to 10% of whatever the attack would be. And then there's a massive cooldown on that as well. So it is helpful, but again, not really needed. So she's still an amazing champ without it. And this guy, I would still say, if I was ranking these, he would be my top champion, top Unawakened champion. But he is fantastic. In my opinion, he doesn't need the awakened ability at all. Some people say they do get some use out of the awakened ability, but I would say the majority of people say it's not much use at all. When your opponent is power drained or power burned, you get a small degen on the opponent, but it only lasts a couple seconds. It's not a massive degen, but so that's one really good thing I like about Warlock is once you pull him, then he's amazing right out of the gate. You don't need to have to mess with that awakening. Especially as 6-star early, you guys are, if you're pulling, you've only got 20 or 30 6-stars, you probably haven't pulled that many duplicates yet. And at that point, you maybe haven't got any awakenings yet, the gems yet either. So, it's a real struggle. So I'm hoping something like this tier list will be a big benefit to, Cavalier players or people that are up and coming about, who do I take up as a 6-star without them being awakened. So thanks for watching today, guys. I really appreciate it. Hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.